Part 1. The girl nobody believed in. They didn't even pause to look at me as I passed the living room. The TV blared sports, my brothers cheered, Dad shouted at the screen, a beer in hand. Mum scrolled her phone like her life depended on it. I stood there with a letter trembling in my hand. "I got accepted," I said. No one turned. My voice was too quiet. I tried again. "To Cal Arts, full scholarship." Dad scoffed. "What for? That nonsense painting crap?" My brothers burst out laughing. "What's she gonna do, draw cartoons for a living?" one said. "Nah, she'll be back here in 6 months, broke and begging," said the other. Mum finally looked up. Her expression wasn't pride, it was worry. "You sure that's a real scholarship, Miha? They don't just hand those out to nobodies." Nobody? That's what I was to them. I remember standing there, the paper trembling in my hand, wanting so badly to feel like I'd done something right. Instead, I turned, walked back to my tiny room in the attic, and cried until the ink on the letter ran down like tears. We lived in a cracked 2-bedroom in East LA. My brothers got one room, Mum and Dad the other. I slept on a mattress on the attic floor. No insulation, no windows, just heat in the summer and bitter cold in the winter. I drew by flashlight, practiced with charcoal stolen from school art class. My hands were always dirty, my nails black from graphite. Every teacher told me I had potential. Every adult in my house told me to get real. I worked nights at a taco stand on Sunset. Greasy apron, aching feet, sweaty hair tied back under a cap. Customers barely looked at me, just barked orders. "You'll never make it out of here," Raoul, my manager, once said while stacking soda cans. "People like us die in these streets." I looked up at the neon lights bouncing off the sidewalks and said quietly, "Not me." He laughed. "You keep telling yourself that, Vargas." The scholarship was real, but so was the fear. First day at Cal Arts, I stood on campus in my faded jeans and thrift store hoodie, surrounded by kids with dyed hair, vintage cameras, portfolios that cost more than my mum's car. I felt like an imposter. My first professor looked over my sketches and raised an eyebrow. "Self-taught?" "Yes, you're raw, angry, I like it, don't lose that." That night, I went home to my rented closet of a room and cried again, not from shame, from hope. For once, someone didn't laugh, but hope doesn't pay rent. I worked 3 jobs, slept 4 hours a night, took showers in public gym bathrooms when the water got cut, sold small art pieces on the street for $20 just to eat. One night, after a 12-hour shift, my stomach growling, shoes soaked from the rain, I got home and opened a brown envelope from Mum. Inside was a single photo. Me, age 7, holding up my first drawing. A lopsided horse and a sun with a smiley face. On the back, in faint pencil, Mom had written, "I hope one day you make the world see how you see it." I sat on the floor and cried harder than I had in years. They didn't believe in me anymore. Maybe they never really did. But something inside me, that little girl, still did. Part 2. No one saw the fire in me until it burned everything down. I kept the photo from Mum in my wallet. Every time I thought about quitting, every time I saw other students get big commissions, gallery placements, designer internships, I looked at that little girl's crooked smile and remembered why I started. I wasn't chasing money. I was chasing a voice, my voice, and slowly, it started to echo back. My first break was stupid, really. A video I posted on TikTok, a 15-second speed drawing of a homeless veteran and his dog, went viral. 2 million views in 48 hours. People were crying in the comments. Art blogs started tagging me. A foundation reached out and asked if they could purchase the piece for their LA office. "How much?" they asked. I didn't know what to say. I'd never priced my work before. "300?" I said nervously. They replied, "We'll pay 3,000. I nearly passed out. That piece paid off all my rent debt and bought me real supplies. Canvas, paints, lighting. I built a corner studio in my room with thrifted lamps and a wobbly IKEA desk. I created non-stop. 3 months later, my solo exhibition opened in a tiny downtown gallery, just 15 pieces. Most were portraits of everyday people, cleaners, line cooks, kids playing in traffic. I called it The Unseen. At first, no one came. The gallery owner looked nervous. But by the 3rd day, someone posted a thread about my work on X. Celebrities started sharing it. Journalists emailed me. The next weekend, the gallery was packed. I stood against the wall wearing my thrifted dress, watching strangers cry in front of my art. One woman clutched her chest and whispered, "This looks like my father." Every single piece sold. That night, I walked back to my apartment and sat alone on the floor in the dark. No celebration, no champagne. Just me and the same silence I'd grown up in. But it felt different now. Not empty, peaceful. I had done something no one thought I could do. The next year came like a storm. I was commissioned for a mural in South Central, then in San Francisco, then New York. A billionaire in Dubai bought 5 of my street portraits for $250,000. Vogue featured me as the girl with a city in her brush. I bought a studio in Echo Park, gutted it, designed it myself, custom easels, natural light. A wall full of framed letters from fans around the world, and then I bought a house. Not just a house, their house, my childhood home. The moment the paperwork went through, I sat in my car, engine off, staring at the front porch where I once cried after Dad called me useless. The realtor handed me the keys and said, "Welcome home, Miss Vargas." I didn't tell them, not yet. I waited for the right moment, and it came on Christmas Eve. I called a family meeting, rented 5 limousines, invited my former art professors, my billionaire clients, my team. And when I walked up those steps in red heels and a tailored black suit, the whole family looked up from dinner with frozen forks and wide eyes. Raoul, the same brother who used to throw my sketchbooks in the trash, dropped his fork. "Eleanor," I smiled. "Evening? Is this a bad time?" Dad blinked. What is this?" One of the billionaires stepped forward, a tall French woman in a navy coat, and shook my hand in front of them all. "Good evening, boss. Everything is ready." Their jaws dropped, and I stood there in the same living room that once erased me, finally visible. Part 3. I bought the house they mocked me in. They stood there stunned, caught between pride and shame. The woman they'd laughed at had just stepped back into their lives, too graceful to ignore, too powerful to talk down to. Dad finally broke the silence. "What's going on, Elena? What is all this?" I walked past the Christmas ham, the paper plates, the flickering string lights taped to the ceiling. Same old house. Cracked tiles, rusted heater, mismatched furniture. But I wasn't the same. "This is me," I said, softly. "This is what a failure looks like." Raoul stepped toward me, trying to joke. "Damn, sis, you really made it. Maybe you could lend me something, huh?" I turned to face him, remembering the day he'd spit on one of my charcoal drawings and called it trash. "I don't lend to people who laugh when I bleed." He looked away, face red. Mom approached slowly. She had aged more than I remembered, or maybe I had just been too far away to notice the years falling on her shoulders. She held out her hand. "We didn't know," she said. "We didn't understand back then." "No," I said, tears threatening my voice. "You did know, you just didn't believe." The room went quiet. The guests behind me stayed near the door, unsure whether to step in or let the storm pass. "So what, you come back to show off?" Dad snapped, bitter. "Rub your money in our faces?" I took a deep breath and pulled a thick envelope from my coat pocket. Inside, the deed. "I bought this house." Gasps, shock. No one spoke. "You're standing in a place you no longer own," I continued. "I bought it last month. It's mine now, and I'm giving it away." Their heads turned in confusion. "To who?" Raoul asked. "To the community center I grew up near. They'll turn it into an art school for girls who draw in closets." "Girls like I used to be." Dad's face went pale. "You can't just give it away." "I can," I said, "and I already did." He clenched his fists, then unclenched them. Rage faded into disbelief, then fear, then silence. Mom sat down staring at the wall. She didn't speak again. My brothers slinked out, one by one, fake smiles, murmured congrats, trying to save face. But I wasn't angry anymore. I didn't need revenge, just distance. I turned to the guests who'd come with me. "Let's go. I have somewhere better to be." We walked outside into the chilly night. The air smelled like pine and street tacos. The limos waited. Cameras flashed. I didn't smile for them. I smiled for myself. As I stepped into the car, a reporter called out, "Elena, how does it feel to come back home like this?" I looked over my shoulder. "I didn't come back home," I said. "I came to bury the past." That night, I sat alone in my Echo Park studio. I unrolled a fresh canvas, picked up a brush, and painted a little girl in an attic holding a sketch of a sun with a smile. In the corner I wrote, "They called me nothing, so I became everything."